Yo, what's going on, world? It's your boy Poncho here. Welcome to episode 12 of the Encore Podcast. If this is your first time listening, this is a podcast for artists, musicians, any creative entrepreneur that wants to take their passion for music and art and turn it into a full-time business. So if that's you, subscribe, tap in with the community. I'm here today with my co-host, Cruz.
Yo, so we just shot another episode.
Yeah, we were in the same shit, bro.
Yeah, I just had to get that out of the way right now.
I was gonna acknowledge that later because this is gonna look a little crazy. But
I have to say it right now. Yeah. So the same thing. That's how I do. But yo, I'm happy to be here again. Happy to be back. So this is my first day back with the interview series in a while. So great to be back at it. I got a little warm up today with Steely, but happy to be here with Kool Kidd Dre, one of my favorite singers, R&B artists from the around the way, from Mount Vernon originally, but you moved around a lot. And your newest project is 5G's Later.
Yes, sir.
Love that joint, bro. Literally listen to that shit straight from front to back earlier this week, and literally the vibes are just consistent, and it just feels good the whole way. It's one of those projects where I don't even gotta look at the song. I just feel the vibes the whole way through. So
appreciate that, man.
But how you feeling today, bro?
I'm good, man. I just had a sandwich from Subway. I'm set, man.
Yeah.
I'm set.
Shout out Subway.
Shout out Subway.
You feel me?
Shout out Subway.
Dope. All right, so real quick, could you tell the people where you come from? Well, he already said Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
Nah, man. But you lived a
How
lot
you
of
got
places.
in? Yeah, you moved around. How you got into music and what you currently do today?
I got into music when I was about 5 years old. I went to the summer camp in Mount Vernon, and my boy Justin, his older brother, was singing in the camp in front of everybody. And I remember first seeing him thinking he's a wing for singing for everybody. I was he's so corny. And then everybody was just on him, and I was like, yo, I want that. So from there I was like, yo, I want to sing, and then started singing. Then around the time I was about 8, my uncle started bringing me around the studio with him, Uncle Nisus. My stepdad also raps, so he started bringing me to the studio. So then I started rapping. And so my earliest raps were just taking their raps and then cleaning them up and just changing some words around.
Cleaning them up, making them not explicit?
Exactly. So they cursed a lot. Well, my uncle didn't curse as much, but my step-pops definitely cursed a lot in his rap. So that was kind of my training on writing. And then maybe 10 years later, when I was about 10 years old, I started producing. My uncle also brought me to the studio. Showed me the whole graph, showed me reasons. And from there, I was a singing, rapping, producing kid by the time I was 10 years old. And, I've been doing it ever since. So it's pretty much the story.
There's a lot in between there, bro.
Is there? Music-wise?
Between 10 years old until, maybe
until now?
when you started taking music seriously.
Okay, so I would say between from...
just your art or creative career in general that inspired you to be where you are today. What do you think?
Yeah. I think after early on when I was about 10 and I kept on going, my performance kind of stepped up. I started doing more performances once I got to high school.
What kind of performances?
By that point, I was in talent shows. I was rapping and singing by that point. By the time I started doing talent shows in high school, I was definitely rapping and singing all the time. And then I graduated high school, went to audio engineering school because I got tired of people not making me sound the way I wanted to sound. And that was around 21, 22, around there.
When you were 21, 22?
Yeah, around there. That's when I went to audio engineering school. And then after that, I didn't know what questions were going to happen after that, so I didn't want to tell too much of the story before we got to that.
How'd you feel about the audio engineering school? Did you feel like that was a worth it experience for you as a creative?
At the time, I thought it was a waste of fucking time.
At the time, you felt that way?
Yeah.
So you did it more because you felt forced to do it, or because you really thought it would provide value and it didn't?
Well, originally, I wanted to go when I was in high school. I was like, I'm not going to college. I'm going to audio engineering school.
Was that for your parents or for yourself?
That was for me. I was like, I know I'm not going to college. So I was like, I'll just go to audio engineering school. And then my step-pops was like, no, you're not. You're going to college. And then I tried to go the whole college thing, and it just didn't work out. So I ended up just not going anywhere. And then, just coming back to New York, I was like, I want to get back into music. And I was like, I'll just go to the same audio engineering school I wanted to go to begin with. And I would say at the time I thought it was a waste of my time and money, but what I did learn after the fact was they kind of gave me the blueprint of things I wanted to learn. So they weren't going to teach me how to mix, but they were going to give me everything I needed to know to figure it out on my own, and it did exactly that. And I still use a lot of those tools to this day. So yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any regrets about that? Or do you feel like it was worth the time and money, or you could have spent it in other areas?
The only regret I have is that I didn't do that fresh out of high school. Only regret I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Loved everything else about it.
Word.
I feel like that's most people's regret, just not doing shit earlier.
Just doing it earlier.
yeah,
That's
type
all.
shit. You want to start it off?
Sure. You're also the host of the Beats and Sip, right? That's
Yes,
it.
sir.
Yeah, the Beats and Sip event,
go.
and which I think is a super dope concept. Do you want to explain it and really say what inspired you to start that event, and how that's been going for you, what benefits you've gotten from it, or just like anything you want to talk about in that space?
Beats and Sip is an idea I had back, I would say last year, so around 2020, around the end of the year, because we in 22 now, right? So, look at that, new year.
Been almost a year?
Yeah. So end of 2020, I had this idea, and I don't know what sparked it. I can't say like I was doing this and something sparked it, but I do know as an artist, we're always looking for ways to push the envelope and try different things out. So at some point, the idea just came together to do like, Beats and Sip would be dope. And
Inspired by Paint and Sip?
it was. Let's put it like this: I went to a Paint and Sip 2 years ago. 2 years before that, I went with Scarlett before I went to where was we going? We were going to.
Was it the White Plains?
Yes.
joint? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what they're called though, but that place is fire.
Muse Paintball.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, Scarlett took me there before I went to Taiwan for the first time. So this is like 2016, 17, whenever that was. Right, whenever that was. So she took me there, and I remember going into it thinking I don't really, I don't know how to paint, so I didn't really care. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go there, get lit, have a good time.
Word.
And then my boy Darren, who was actually hosting it, and I ended up painting something, and I was like, yo, this actually came out really dope. And I was like super excited because I had always wanted to draw and paint and shit like that because I suck at it. So when I did it, I remember feeling like, yo, I finally have something I could be proud of. So I will say that by the time the Beats and Sip idea was curating, I wanted to make sure that I gave people that same feeling I had when I went to Paint and Sip. I wanted people to feel that way about music. Like, oh, damn, I always wanted to get into music, but I can't sing and I can't rap and I can't, so I'm like, Beats and Sip was curated with that person in mind. So once I had that
makes
idea,
sense.
you know what I'm saying? So once
Yeah.
the idea kind of came together, I was like adding little things as time went on because I didn't initially act on it. Like I sat on it for a while. I was telling people about it. Everyone said, this is a dope idea. This is a dope idea. And me just being nervous, never being in that space before. Like I've been an artist my whole life. I've never done events or anything like that. So as time went on, I just kept adding things to it. And I was like, oh, maybe if I did this, maybe if I did that. And then I did one with my family during the summer. And they were like horrible. Like they almost made me give up on the whole idea because I'm like,
Yeah.
if this is what it's gonna be like, it's gonna be trash. Because I did it in Florida with the family. We were all together, and I kind of gave them the instructions, but family don't listen to nothing. You know what I mean? They were just kind of there. But I will say, doing it that one time showed me all the things that was perfect about it, and all the things I had to change. And really was more just preparation, making sure I prepped everything ahead of time. And then even after that, I still didn't know where I was gonna do it. So then I went to Clinton's, which is in Mount Vernon, and I ran into my boy Derek, who's actually now the principal or the president of the city council or something like that. He's city council related. Congratulations to him. He just got that. And he was doing karaoke there. And I just said, yo, this would be a dope place to finally do Beats and Sips. So I said, yo, how does this situation work? He's like, yo, just talk to Clinton. And I'm talking to Clinton. Clinton's cool with my pops. I know a lot of people who go to Clinton. So once he kind of gave me the green light, I was like, I'm gonna do it here. And no one who actually came to the first Beats and Sip had ever done it before. So it wasn't like I got with my friends ahead of time and tried it out. Like everybody there came in with their preconceived notions of what they thought it was, and no one was right. Like no one actually knew what it was going to be like until they actually did it. And everyone says, yo, this is way better than I thought it was going to be. Because the idea of, first of all, most people don't even understand creating a beat in general. As opposed to like Paint and Sip, you have an idea, you just, you stroke the pause. You you know what I'm saying? You take the paintbrush.
Certain techniques to make it, look right.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Pause. Edit that out, son. Edit that out. No.
We not.
But yeah, so like you go to the easel or whatever you call it, and you paint. So it's not a difficult concept. So for most people, the idea of just making a beat, they don't even know what goes into it. They don't understand the sound structure. So the idea that I took something that seems very complex and made it extremely simple and brought it down to like 4 or 5 pads for people to press on beat was something I knew I could do it because I had been producing my entire life. So I knew what it took to make that extremely large technique into something that, all I gotta do is this at this moment. Yeah. So I did the first one. Everyone loved it. They was like, oh, we need to do another one. I wasn't planning on, I did the first one in October, a little bit after my birthday. I wasn't planning on doing another one until February. And everybody kept hitting me up. I was like, yo, we need to go. So I'm like, all right, I'll just do another one in December. It'll be great for the footage, great to learn more about what I'm trying to do. And yeah, now everyone is clamoring, like literally hitting me up every other day, like, when is the next beat?
Word.
So yeah, it's gonna be in February. By the time this episode airs, the details
it'll be announced.
Yeah,
that's fire, bro.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, one gem that I feel like that you touched on is just like in terms of like getting your event or something that you're trying to do into a certain space. Like artists will be surprised, like, or just people in general. Like if you talk to a restaurant or like some sort of space owner, like how much they're willing to work with you just to like work in their space. Like remember when you were touring in White Plains and like that guy was like liked what you were doing and is like, yo, come do
Shout
this.
Shout out Sean. Cantina.
That's one thing I noticed. Like the most random business, you're like, yeah, you could do this event in our space, like, or just anything. So like that's something that I thought was valuable.
Yeah,
you said,
I think
but also just trying things is
trying it out. Just like you said, you never know how people are receptive to your idea, especially if it's a great idea. So shout out to you for
that B2B sort of B2B collaboration. So how would you describe? How does just to shout out Beats and Sips? And how would you describe how that looks like?
Okay, so
to people that are interested in doing it, but like
how Beats and Sip works is I have the keyboard set right in front of everyone. So I formatted it like it's an actual studio session. Get everybody together. 2 people come up next to the pads. I already have the beat pre-made and everything, so all the pads you're hitting are set up for success. So you don't have to try to come up with anything on the spot. All you got to be able to do is count to 5. Pretty much it. So I get 2 people up front. I count it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You hit the pad. 1 sound goes. I have you hit that sound. Then I have your partner hit the next sound. And those collection of about 4 to 5, maybe 6 sounds, depending on the beat, comes together as a beat. I instantly arrange this beat into take those 4 or 5 simple sounds, arrange that beat on the spot, and then I add an acapella of a song that people already know, and I play it right there on the spot. And it's like literally right there as you're there, we're all jamming to the song. So the first one I did, the first 2 were actually 90s R&B. So I brought 2 people up, they made the beat. I added, Usher Nice and Slow. I added This Is How We Do It. I added, what else did I add? Mary J. Blige, like literally just adding songs on there. So instead of it just being like, oh, you just made a beat, it's like, no, we actually just made a beat right now that we can all jam to, and it doesn't just feel like we're just listening to a beat. It's like,
okay, word.
We're listening to a song, and this beat is fire, and I already love the song, so it makes the experience a lot more interactive, and it doesn't feel like you're just watching somebody make a beat. You know what I mean?
That's fucking dope, bro. I haven't heard it like explained in that way before, so that's awesome, bro. I know, like, I was interested in going to the next one. I haven't been to one yet, so now I feel like I'm definitely trying to be there, bro. Gotta pull up. Damn, definitely.
So
bro.
did you put being an artist to the side for Beats and Sip?
I wouldn't say I put it to the side. I think what happened with Beats and Sip, it kind of moved faster than I anticipated.
Yeah.
So, I thought I was going to have 3 or 4 months before the next Beats and Sip. So once I did the first one, it was so successful, I had to get ready for the next one. I think I planned out things differently. So I do have a song I do plan on putting out at some point to kind of get the wheels going. But as an artist, I record all the time. Like I was literally just in the studio yesterday. So it's like I'm always recording.
Do you feel like you're getting more momentum off Beats and Sip than your music?
That's a great question, Pia. It's a great question. You're good at your job. No, but in all honesty, I will say being the event host for Beats and Sip and being an artist, it isn't that it's getting more traction, because it's hard for me to say that, because as an artist, I've toured the world, my following is up, I had a lot of streams, so it's for me to say that one is going better than the other or faster than the other would kind of discredit what I've done before. What I will say is that the reception of planning out the reception is different. As an artist, I have to be very specific on how I present myself for people to retain my music. So you could hear a song and think it's all right, but if I tell you Jay-Z likes the song, you're gonna be more intent. You're gonna be like, oh, what's this? As opposed to like Beats and Sip, it's just, oh, this sounds dope. It doesn't matter who else thinks it's dope. It doesn't matter who's being there.
It gets rid of all the politics.
It gets rid of all the politics. So my presentation of Beats and Sip is completely different than my presentation as an artist. What I will say is where they marry each other is I understand. So there are certain tools as an artist that I use for Beats and Sip. So at Stainless, the team, shout out to Sean, shout out to Steely, Kosi, and everybody at the team. We're really big on our rollouts. Like, so anytime we've ever dropped an album, whether people have said they listened to it or, they liked it or whatever the case may be, they can never say they didn't know something was coming out with us. We're very big on our planning before a project, mapping things out months in advance. Who are we going to talk to? What are we going to post? We have
very intentional with the
very
content.
intentional.
Yeah.
So I took that same mentality into getting ready for Beats and Sip. So case in point, I've been promoting the February Beats and Sip as soon as the last one was finished in December. That wasn't a mistake. I knew I was going to do that because I knew the February one was going to be my big, party event. So as an artist, don't fall. Don't fall me. Anyways, keep going, bro. Keep going. But yeah, as a
got no case on my shit.
shit.
I'm trying to flex the 13, but
yeah, just making sure that the same skills I learned as an artist I could use to Beats and Sip, and avoiding the potholes as an artist. As an artist, my biggest thing was I was always thinking too small. I always thought too small. I felt like I didn't, even early on, Steele was always on me like, you need a music video. I'm like, I don't need no music video. I was thinking too small. Or even when I put certain songs out, I was thinking, ain't nobody really gonna listen. And people coming up to me, yo, what'd you do with this song? What'd you do with this song? So getting out of the mentality that no one cares what I'm doing, I had to kill that early.
I feel that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You feel like no one cares about your stuff, so you feel like you just leave it. And once again, being part of a team that really cares about what we're doing, I'm very intentional with okay, nothing I do is just whimsical.
You have a team with Beats and Sip?
Yeah, shout out my boy Aaron. He's got a lot of his hometown friends with him helping us out. I used to work with Aaron. Yeah, I want to give A his flowers. I used to work with Aaron at Century 21. And
that's our favorite store, bro. They all freaking closed.
They closed, bro. They closed.
Which one do you work at?
Remember they closed, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Nah, but I used to work at the one over World Trade Center.
Yeah. Okay, word. Yeah.
So this is maybe 2017. So I got there. We were the only two dudes in the jewelry section. Only two dudes there. And eventually we got cool. He invited me out to Queens to chill with him one time. And I told him I was from Mount Vernon, so I'm guessing he didn't think I was really going to pull up. And when I pulled up, he was like, yo, you came over? I was like, of course, bro. We chilled out, had a good time. We kicked it a few times after that. And then this is 2017, so a few years ago, when I dropped 5 Gs later, when I was doing my promo, A was really posting it and getting everybody else to post it. And he was I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? I knew we were cool, but I didn't know we were that cool. So I invited him to the listening party. He was like, yo, son, I appreciate you. He was just really enthusiastic about what we were doing. Then I invited him to my birthday party a few months later. And at some point in the midst of all the drinking and stuff like that, he was like, yo, I'll be down to be your manager. And I'm like, I was drunk at the time, so I don't remember him saying that at all. He actually had to bring it up. Actually, still brought it up again because he remembered I was lit. Shout out to everybody who came to my birthday that night. It was a wild night. But after that, we talked to him being my manager. He was like, yo, son, I want to be down. And I'm like, yo, I'm actually about to start this Beats and Sip thing. He was like, yeah, I've seen it. I want to be down. And ever since then, he's been on his job. Literally, I just spoke to A before I got on camera. He's always making sure that the next move is our best move. And I'm happy to have somebody else on the team who really believes in what I do. And is just as enthusiastic as I am. You know what I mean?
Damn, that's fucking important, bro.
Yeah, man,
that's
shout out
awesome,
to
bro. What about the Stainless family? Can you speak on that?
Yeah.
What that means for you and how you got incorporated with that team and everything?
Yeah. So the Stainless fam, Steel, Sean, Coast, and the affiliates, Self. I was gonna say I didn't want to miss anybody else, so you know what I'm saying. Self. Is there anybody else I'm missing? Because I feel like there's a lot of people, so that's why I said affiliates. I don't know. That's what happens. Okay. So yeah, I linked up with Steel as an artist in 2015. We had I had graduated audio engineering school. And my Uncle Nice is the same person who put me on the music. They went to high school together, so they've been cool. So I've known Steel from around. And he came to my uncle and was like, yo, I need an engineer for the studio. And he was like, yo, my nephew just graduated audio engineering school. You should, look out for him. He said, all right, cool. So my uncle came to me and was like, yo, they need an engineer for the studio. I'm like, I don't know about all that. I had just done an internship that didn't go well. Because I didn't get to touch any of the equipment. And I was just like, maybe I'm not cut out to be an engineer. Yeah. And my uncle was like, yo, just do it. And I'm like, all right, cool. My uncle's never steered me in the wrong direction. So even getting into it, I was like, you know what? Even if I'm a trash engineer, I know I can rap, I know I can sing, I produce. So maybe I could just help him with his songs and just give him mad beats, and then he'll just tolerate me for as long enough for me to learn what to do. So got into the studio. The very first time we linked, we actually did not record anything. He literally just brought me to the studio and he played me the beat for Player. And he was like, yo, I have this idea. It's something completely different from what I'm used to because he, you know, at the time he felt like he was a real boom bap rapper. He felt like that was his thing. He's all about the bars. So he felt like this was his first time kind of stepping out into something new. And he was like, let me know what you think. And he does this flow. And I was like, it's hard. And he was like, yo, what you think? And I was like, yo, this is hard. Like, I didn't even know you could do this. And he turned off the music. He said, yo, bro, don't play with me. Like, I'm dead ass. Like, do you really think this is dope? I'm like, yo, son, I don't gas people up. I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like shit. So I would just, if at most, I would just be like, you know what I mean? So we went to the studio. I kind of like was directing the track. He really gave me the door to open the door for me to, you know, he was asking me for feedback and stuff like that. And I wasn't accustomed to that because I only work by myself. So I didn't know what it felt like to collaborate with somebody on music. And then I was like, yo, you should do this hook. He was like, why don't you just do it? I'm like, oh, okay. Did the hook. And then shout out to Gianni. He had a show set up, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to G.
Shout out G.
Shout out G, you know what I'm saying? He had a show in Manhattanville and was like, yo, son, I want you to come through and do Player with me at the spot. I said, cool, say less. So he's like, yo, we doing a rehearsal at the studio. Come through. I came to the studio and he had a band with him. I was like, oh shit, this is like a real performance. So then he also had a song called Further Than Closer, who he had Smarts on the hook, another one of our boys, and he was singing on the hook. And I was just kind of like, you know, singing it inside. He was like, yo, son, can you actually sing it when we perform it? I'm like, yeah, why not? He's like, I'll also let you do your joints. So he's literally just opening the door for me the entire time I'm with him within a matter of about like a couple weeks. So I do the show. We kill it. Right, G? We killed it? There we go. We killed the show. And then from there, that was where like our relationship kind of birthed into. I was the engineer, help with producing, you know, help with writing, help with performances. Like anything I could do, I was willing to do. And then, yo, Sean is the worst. So that started in 2015. Then you guys can watch the interview they did here about him explaining how the whole Taiwan situation worked out.
Yeah.
Yes, you guys watched that part. But I was in the studio there helping out engineering that night. And the very first time he went, he was like, yo, bro, you should come. And I'm like, I don't know about all that, man. I thought about money. I thought about how am I going to get there. It just seemed like a really big idea at the time.
Yeah.
At the time, I was like still trying to get my SoundCloud followers up. Like I just thought that was way too big for me to do. Then he did it about 2 or 3 times and came back and was like, listen, bro, this is it. Like, you need to do it.
Go to Taiwan. You're talking about.
Yeah. He was like, yeah, because he was like, they invited me out again.
He did it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
So like he went out there on the second or third time is like when you were like, all right, bet, let me go.
Yeah, he told me every single time he went out there, he kept inviting me. I was like, I don't know.
Damn, yeah.
And he finally was like, yo, bro, just do it. And I said, you know, who am I to be turning down opportunities like this? Like, what else am I doing? So took that first step and went out there, killed the show. We're still working on music together, helped put together the greatest project that ever came out in Westchester. It's White Linen. Classic. Nobody can tell me nothing about it.
It's a bold statement.
What's up? What's up, yo? What's up? Talk to the people. The people don't lie. People don't lie. And we worked on that project. And he really just kind of gave me, you know, a creative freedom to be an actual producer where like, you know, he's once again asking me, should I say it like this? Should we arrange this beat like this? What artist should we have on the song? So it really gave me a space to be more than just an artist, more than I had ever been.
Where do you think that came from? Like, what do you think it was about you that really inspired him to give you that space to? Maybe this is a question for him, but you know.
No, I know what it is because we spoke about it. At that time, he was kind of the hungriest person in his team. He was always like in the studio, late hours, like we in the studio knocked out till like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, having to go to work 2-3 hours later. So when I came on board, once again, I just wanted to prove that I was worth the time being there. You know, I was really big on
that was really your mentality. Like
I just wanted to prove that I'm serious about this, and we kind of fed off that hunger. So when he was looking to give opportunities, obviously he was going to look to somebody who was, you know, in the studios with him late night, and I could say they believed in my talent more than I did. Even at that point, I felt like, once again, I just wanted to show how hungry and how hard working I was, you know. So I would say that's what it was that kind of just linked us now. Like even to this day, he's still the hardest working person I know.
So I have a question, and I guess I probably should have asked this to Steele.
Well, that's what you got me here, Phil. P.O. I'm gonna I'm gonna figure it out for you.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
So it was.
I'm gonna figure it out for you, brother.
So y'all are mad close.
Yes,
and like. Since 2015, you said y'all have been working pretty much. I'm gonna just say every day, not every day.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Do you think that I kind of did ask him this? Do you think that artists should try and find another artist or another creative and like team up in that sense, or roll solo?
I got to follow up after this.
Okay. To be honest with you, I don't know, bro. Like up until meeting him, I can say that I was in a really small bubble in my head. Like I couldn't see outside of SoundCloud followers, and like it was such a small, perspective of music in my own personal life. So then meeting him, it was more than just, oh, he's another artist who's working. Like he became like a big brother and kind of like guided me through like life at that point. So I don't know if everyone's going to meet a Steely. You know what I'm saying? I don't know so I can't say, oh, just meet somebody else who does music and they'll give you, that kind of perspective. So I don't know. What I will say is that having other people who work as hard as you at the bare minimum is something you should have. So whether it's another artist or another producer or, whatever role they fit, having somebody who's willing to push you as hard as you're willing to push them can never hurt.
Do you think that it's negative? Would it be bad to have people that don't work as hard as you?
In anything in life.
Yeah.
In anything in life, having people around you who are not as motivated will deter your own motivation. Mm-hmm. It'll ruin it for you, just like anything else. So like, I think being able to identify that trait in other people is a skill that people should be able to build on. I think it's a lot of people use things like love and admiration of other people as standards of who people should be around. And that's okay in, when you're chilling and stuff like that. But when you're trying to get something done, being able to identify whether you like somebody or not is one thing. Being able to identify a trait where it's like, oh, this person works as hard as me, that's more about respect than love. You know what I mean? If you're able to respect somebody and work with them and, develop a brotherhood like we've had, that's great. But I would have had the same respect for Steely whether he was my brother or not.
Word. Something that you talk about a lot in other interviews is like how much that you guys fight with each other. Like you literally could be very confrontational, like fight for like a long ass. Which I think is super interesting. It's like Poncho said in the last interview that you had with him, like that's one of the best relationships you can have with somebody is like where it's like you could fight for a long ass time, but that's your brother, you gonna make up over it. Like,
we've chilled,
really that serious.
We've chilled out over the years. Like when we first linked, it was like I don't know what it was, but I think we both trying to prove that we like to argue. I think that's all it really was. I think we just wanted to. I'm like, I'm not stopping. So what's up?
Word, damn. So like, I guess why do you think that like really let you guys build and feed off of each other and like really grow together? And also like, how do you feel like, does that transcend into other relationships that you've had in life? Like besides him, like what makes that relationship sort of like work still, even though it could be confrontational?
I think because we know what it's rooted in. I know none of our arguments have anything to do with I don't think he thinks any less of me. Yeah. Actually, no, he's only arguing with me because he respects me.
Yeah.
Because he cares.
How did you guys realize that though? You know what I mean?
How do I think
that's hard to say, but
no, I think you got to understand when you're around people who are really protective of their intellect. Yeah. When they're very protective of that, you notice it in other people. So I notice who he doesn't argue with. Mm-hmm. I notice when he stops arguing. I notice that like he's not just going to argue for the sake of arguing with you. It's a matter of respect and a matter of like he's also trying to learn from you. Like he's also like if he's going that hard, it's because he really believes what he's saying, and he's waiting for you to prove him wrong. Because he feels like he's missing something. He'll always just say, "I'm just trying to see if I'm bugging. Am I bugging? Am I bugging? Am I bugging?"
That's a great answer, bro.
I feel like when you're like sick or not. Now the thing is though, I feel like when you're 6'5" and over 300 pounds, that's like scary as shit.
Nah, bro. Nah, don't even know passes, bro. He be bugging. Am I bugging? Am I bugging? Am I bugging? Wait, yo, self, I'm bugging. This nigga bugging.
I don't think you realize this nigga Kool Kidd is down to die for his respect.
I'm ready to, bro. Yo, I'll tell you right now, we was in Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know if I did stories last time. Yo, son, we was at Dunkin' Donuts. It's like maybe 2:00 in the morning, bro. We was driving because we always got to go to Dunkin' Donuts before we go back to the studio. Yeah. Dunkin' Donuts, we in the spot, and we was arguing about something music related, and we're beefing walking into the Dunkin' Donuts, like it's going down. And he knows the Dunkin' Donuts dude. He knows everybody at every store he goes to. He knows the Dunkin' Donuts dude. So he's like, "Yo, my man's, what you think about?" I'm like, "Yo, hold on, wait a minute. Let me ask the question. Why you get to ask the question?" We are literally like beefing just to ask the Dunkin' Donuts dude the question. We're going mad hard, and the nigga like tries to push me, and I had been going to the gym at the time. So I'm like, "What's up?" So I like boxed him out, and you see
So I try to go under him. Like, what's up? Like, I know basketball. What's up? And he like sits on me. Like, he sits. I'm like, well, what's up though? Well, what's up? And I literally am on the floor. The Dunkin' Donuts dude is like, so do you want the coffee? Or, and then we went back to the studio and probably worked on Player that night. I don't know.
Yeah. So how does that, to take it to a less funny point, because that's fucking hilarious, but like that like a lot of artists are scared of confrontation, or just people in the industry in general, like on the creative side, like with other collaborators, and like does that mentality transcend to, like, let's say if you're trying to talk about something, money or business, that like might be hard to talk about? Like, are you not afraid to talk about those things because you have that sort of part in you, or is like really specialized towards like somebody like Steely, where you're like,
I will say my relationship with him as an artist, as a brother, has opened me up to trust other people. Because like I said, prior to him, I had never met anybody else who worked as hard as I did or wanted as bad as I did. So dealing with other people, I was very standoffish. And I'm like, yo, bro, you playing. Like, I felt like everybody was playing. So not only being around him, showing me that, he also has a circle of people who are just like that. He's introduced me to a lot of my friends that I have now are through him. You know what I mean? So it showed me, yo, there are people out there who you can trust. So now when I go into different situations with other people, instead of expecting the worst, I'm more just going back to the trait. I'm paying attention to the traits. What are the things that you show me that I can go, okay, that's a respectable trait, or that lets me know that you're somebody I can work with. So, even working with Sean, like, without Steel, if I would have met Sean and Sean was like, hey, you should do this with your album, I'm like, man, fuck do you know? You know what I mean? So it opened the door. I was like, fuck is you talking about? But he opened the door, and thank God for that, man. I wouldn't be where I'm at for that.
That's fire, bro. That makes a lot of sense. That was a dope answer for
Appreciate
sure.
it, man.
Yeah, I know in this industry, like, it could be hard to like find peace at times, like if you're trying to navigate it. So it's like, what are some of the things you do to like find peace?
Women are my peace.
Okay.
And my headache.
Women are your peace and your headache and your creative inspiration and your joy. And like,
You know what I'm saying? They are my heaven and hell, man.
Yeah.
Heaven and hell.
And what's another thing?
What else will I do? I don't know if I have anything that I do to relax. I think I just kind of, anytime I catch a minute where I'm not working on anything, that's enough relaxation for me.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm not in a studio or texting somebody about beats and sip, or anytime I'm not looking at my phone for an extended period of time, I'm relaxed. I don't need to do anything.
Like if you're not looking at your phone, if you're in the moment, like whether that be with like family, TV, like really anything, it feels like relaxing.
On the ride up here, I didn't look at my phone once. I was in the car, we listened to music, we laughing, chilling.
Yeah.
That's my relaxation. That's my peace.
Word.
You know what I mean?
That's your peace.
That's all I need, man.
Yeah, you don't need to have like a super like peaceful moment, like as long as you're like
I probably
sort
should.
of in the moment. Yeah, I mean, maybe it depends.
should.
Everybody's different. Some people really need that tranquility, like straight up, like not doing shit with other people. Besides,
I get nervous.
Yeah, it depends.
I get nervous. I feel like
Same.
Yeah, I get
when
nervous.
You're not doing shit.
I
bro,
get
I'm
so
like, yo, I'm
nervous.
fucking up.
I feel like I'm fucking up.
You don't feel better about that?
I feel like, and it's like not only do I feel like, yo, I'm fucking up, I know how easy it is to fall into. Bro, you have when you have a day where you don't do anything, I start thinking, yo, what if I did nothing tomorrow?
Yeah.
Like, what if I just don't do nothing else? Because this was,
woo! Yo, do you ever get annoyed when people say you work too hard?
No, I judge them.
You judge them?
I judge them instantly.
Okay.
I judge people. I'm not going to front. Like, I judge people.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
He kept to the book. We all it's human nature to judge people.
Yeah, because when you telling me I work too hard, one, I want to know what's your standard of working.
Yeah.
Because like, I feel like I work, to be honest with you, as hard as I work, I feel like I work as hard as a working person, if that makes any sense. Like,
I know
feel like,
you mean.
you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? As a successful person, right?
Yeah.
I don't feel like so anybody telling me I work too hard, bro, anybody telling me I work too hard is usually a joint asking me for more time. That's the only people who tell me I work too hard. But we're going to leave that for another episode. Anyway.
Yeah.
I was curious. All my friends tell me that all the time. I was wondering.
Yeah, I told you the other day you need a vacation. You're like, I'm not taking one for years. I'm like, I will never tell you that again. And I'm like,
Yeah, don't do it.
yeah, I took a vacation. I'm like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have taken that vacation. I lost like over $1,000 for like 5-day trip, and like I had lost being on the last interview. I'm like, fuck. Yeah, I guess it
This is
wasn't
my
worth
fun,
it,
man.
but-
Yeah,
This is my fun.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Shit, we
this-
just make
this is
videos.
fun. Yeah.
Oh, we got. I'll tell you later.
Keep that low. Keep that low. Keep that low.
It's the future ideas for the brand. Okay, so you have a unique perspective that I want to get into.
Okay.
The fact that you did tour overseas, even though it was a minute ago, it's still. How long ago was it?
P.O., that was like a couple months ago, man.
Oh shit, you were just in Poland. I forgot.
I just was, man.
Okay, yeah, I forgot.
You didn't see my
You
shirt
were-
off on the screen, man. I was
Yeah,
on the
you're
screen
right.
tour, bro.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, thanks.
Fire.
Can you tell us a few things? The first, I'll just ask them one at a time. What's the difference between doing a show here and a show overseas?
The show overseas, I have a mixed bag of people I'm winning over and people who only know me as an artist. So my performance is geared toward that space, right? So I know that there are certain songs that they are familiar with that there's still a language barrier to. So everything I did as far as my open mic tour early on, so like back in 2012 to about 2016, 17, when I was doing open mics like every other weekend. To this point, sometimes I was doing them like every other night.
I want to get back to that, so
All
let's
right.
just be ready.
So everything I learned in that space to win over a crowd, I take from me overseas because now I know you're somebody who could potentially like me. I'm used to dealing with people who go into not like me in New York. They don't want to like you. You got to fight for that. Over here, you're either somebody who's familiar with me and wants to see me do well, or you're somebody who doesn't know who I am and wants to be entertained and wants me to have fun with you. So being overseas, I enjoy that dynamic. Shows, I would say here in New York or around people I know, I'm so much more about the experience they have. Like I want to curate a vibe because I know they understand what I'm saying. I know them. Like we have a different connection, even with people who are fans who I may not know as well as my friends. They have a certain connection to me, and so I want to make sure that their experience is curated to my relationship with them personally.
Okay. Do you feel like, as an artist coming up, it's a good strategy to try and get those shows overseas?
No,
No?
I don't.
Okay, word. Like, but by good.
I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna expand on it. The reason why I don't think you should try something like that is because what you do is you miss what happened over here. Like that's not being able to tour overseas is not something that just happens every day. You know what I mean? Like even when Steely explains how that happened, that doesn't just happen. You know what I mean? So
It's a series of things.
It's
that
a
go
series
into
of
it,
things.
yeah.
First of all, it's a series of his work, right? Like that he didn't just know this guy and he was like, oh, I'm gonna do it. It's because he saw Steely working over the years and was like, yo, let me give you this play. I already know you're talented and I know you work hard. That probably wouldn't have worked for him if he was 22 or 21 just getting out there and be like, well, he's dope. But is he really working? So I wouldn't tell somebody to shoot for something that I saw as a 1 in a million shot. Like even when I came on with him, he was like, yo, son, this is what it's been looking like before you got here. So don't get lost in all this overseas stuff. Like before this happened, I was only a few steps ahead of you. You know what I mean? So who knows what his career and life would have looked like, and my career and life would have looked like had that just not happened. So what I would say is, first people getting on, if you are looking to go overseas, if that's something you look to do, I would just say reach out to artists who are overseas, collaborate with them.
That initial connection that'll really bridge that gap for you, that'll have you some reason to be like that cosign, or whether something that'll really introduce you to people, especially
100%.
if it's like, yeah, that makes sense for sure.
Yeah, I didn't have any need to be over there, but hey, if you want to be popular in Brazil, follow some people from Brazil.
Rather than overseas, would you say that it's best to build that community with you really locally, so you have that real local following that'll support you regionally until you branch off? Or is it like, obviously you gotta do a little bit of both, but if you had to say like,
Do you have to?
did
do a
you
little bit of
have?
both?
I mean, you
I
could.
don't think you have to. I mean, you should.
I mean, I think this goes to the main point I'm about to get to anyway. There is no one way to do it.
There's no one way.
But
yeah.
I would say,
How did you do it? Would you say you had a pretty decent, like, I mean,
I would
something
say
that you were satisfied with? No,
I understand your question. What I would say is early on,
what artists should be focusing on is one, the music, right? Making sure you're actually
that's the foundation.
right. You actually have good music, and then secondly, understanding. Because you understand there's a million ways to skin a cat, you won't lose your mind when something's not going the right way. Like, just be prepared for the pitfalls of it all. Like, for example, the very first show I ever did, when I mean like I rented out a spot, I tried to sell tickets. I did it in North Carolina, and in my mind I was like, yo, I went to high school here. There's gonna be more people who are gonna come out here. I rented out this super small spot. They dragged me for the price. I knew I overpaid crazy because I was from New York. Had people there. Only maybe like 10 people came. I flew in with one of them, and I didn't make any money. I just lost all my money. It was a complete negative, right? But I also had to do that because now I understand what I did wrong. I understand who really rocks with me. Like, so
taking that leap, taking that L
taking
really
that leap,
helped you.
Yeah.
100%.
Damn. So you were living in New York and then you went back to Fayetteville, North Carolina to be out there for the show. So you had like some people that you expected to come out there and then damn. Yeah. So what was like room looking like? Like, why did you feel confident to like do this room?
This.
Yeah,
it looked exactly like this.
Yeah.
Me, you, them.
Yeah.
And me, the mic. That's it.
Yeah. And how much did it cost you? Because just
$1,000.
Yeah, $1,000.
Cost me $1,000 to rent out a spot.
Yeah. For like
This like
3 hours.
This area or the whole like studio.
I would say about the whole studio.
Not the whole city. Yeah.
$1,000.
Studio, what you see on camera, most probably is probably like 5. That's the whole studio.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I had to do that because if I didn't take that jump, I never would have saw how bad I wanted it. Because what I will say is I didn't feel like after the fact, oh, I just got gypped. I felt like I made this jump, and now I need to know how to do it better the next time.
Yeah.
So
that's so fire. Like so many, just making any jump, taking any risk, especially when there's money involved. It's just
bro,
it's hard for people.
Beats and Sip was a huge risk for me. Like Beats and Sip, for me to first of all, I curated Beats and Sip like 2-3 months after I just dropped my first album. So I'm like, I should be promoting my album. I'm like, yo, I took a jump. I took a risk. I was like, yo, I believe in this idea that not only is it dope, but it will help me as an artist. It'll bring me another platform. It'll bring eyes to what I'm doing. And I just had to believe in it. Like, understand, Beats and Sip was never done before I did it. It's an idea that no one has ever seen. I had to bring it to people, tell you to come through, people not know what to expect. People came literally off my vibe and my music. That's the only reason people came. People came because they know I'm a fun dude and they like my music. They were one of the two. So to believe in myself and make that jump and just go, you know what? I know this idea is it. And for it to have worked out is just not, it's a testament to all those other times I made a jump and it may not have worked as well. If I didn't make those other jumps and pay that money and went out and went to school and felt like I lost and went to those open mics and maybe one person showed up and, you know, all of those things built me up to make that jump for Beats and Sip and say, yeah, I know it's going to work. And it's been working for me. You know what I'm saying?
Fire, bro. Nah, like taking it back to the show space, like your earliest shows and just like earliest open mic showcases, like whatever. Like, can you like speak on like the build up of like getting yourself on more stages, like how you really approached it, what your mentality was, who you tried to speak to, just like any tips for like early artists who haven't performed yet, making that like steps of like getting on more stages just in general.
I'll tell you my first show. We'll go from there. This is 2012. I had just moved back from North Carolina, graduated high school. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna go to New York and I'm gonna start performing at these open mics I've been seeing at the time. I'm seeing on YouTube, that's what people do.
On YouTube is when you found them at the time?
Yep. Yeah. I was like, yo, this is what the spot.
Certain brands that you found? Or like
I specifically went to the Pyramid Club.
Okay, yeah.
Lower East Side.
Yeah.
And I went with, I know exactly who was there. It was my ex-girlfriend at the time, my boy Los, my cousin Eric, Scarlett, and my boy Shane. This is there. And I'm like, yo, son, we going to the open mic night. I'm gonna get signed here. There's gonna be people there. Just come up, show love. They're like, all right, cool, we got you. We go to the spot, and that particular night, it was a battle rap night. Had no idea. I probably should have scouted that out before I went. Went to the spot, the battle rappers go, and there's a list of people who can perform after the fact. Once again, me not knowing if you are going to go to anybody doing open mic night, your job is to get there early as possible so you can get an ideal slot. You do not want to be the first person most of the time, but you damn sure don't want to be last. Ideal, there's 10 people, you want to be 3 or 5. That's it. That's the golden spot. So gem for y'all. So came there, was nervous about signing up, eventually did it. I was like 14th. Went on stage. I was so excited to be on stage that I wasn't paying attention to like my mic situation, and I wasn't paying attention to the sound. And I just remember being on stage and like screaming mad loud, and my voice at the time was like super tinny, like it was like so squeaky, and like I'm trying to sing over the music. And I just remember my friends looking at me like, whew. And we went outside, and like the show was like, my performance was horrible. It was horrible. Like no one paid me any mind. And I remember after that night, it was like, I'm never doing that again, like ever. And everyone's like, no, you did great. Like, you know how friends are and stuff like that.
Yeah, but like performing in general, or that technique of performing?
No, performing in general. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And so I didn't perform again, probably like another 6-7 months after that. And in that time, I watched mad YouTube videos of other artists and their performance. So I watched Drake, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, Fab, like everybody who I thought was like my favorite rappers at the time, and even singers, like even Chris Brown's videos, Usher's, and like, what can I take from everyone's show? Because I'm like, it can't be that hard, because I was just in Fayetteville, North Carolina, fucking up these open mics. I mean, fucking up these talent shows. I know I'm talented. Took all those things, went back 9 months later, took everything I had learned, went on stage, killed it, and I just kept picking up all this. I'm like, all right, cool, I can use this, and I just improved on the show. So by the time I got to a stage like South by Southwest, once again, I built my show up to that point. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I knew what the crowd was going to interact with. I knew how to engage them. These are all tools I had built up after doing months of open mics. So anybody trying to get into that performance space,
yeah,
get out there, man.
So really just watching the YouTube videos of the people that you really respected as good performers, and just taking note of like every little thing that you possibly could,
and doing it over and over again.
Would you practice like really in your room with friends? Like how would you navigate it? You just internalize it without really practicing it? Like you would not even in your room at all, just sort of like with the mic, like taking steps, like,
because it's not the same.
Yeah,
it's not the same.
Yeah,
when you're on stage, it's like you have to deal with your energy, the person's energy. There's so many things you can't account for when you're on a stage. So for me to go in my room and think,
the vocal, you didn't even feel like it was worth it at some?
No, it was because it's pointless.
Yeah, I feel that.
To me, you know what I'm saying? But maybe for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We hit on most of the things that I've written down. The only question that I have left for you, and it's all right. This kind of is gonna encompass everything we've talked about so far. So you've done a lot of shit. You've done tours. You've put out a good amount of songs, videos. You're now doing Beach and Sip.
Yo, dude, we got yo. I hope that is on the mic. I hope to God that is on. So for y'all who don't know what just happened, Sean got caught in his infamous nod off. He got caught slacking, and he's nodded off and was snoring dumb loud. And I'm so happy everybody got to see that.
Try to get him before they get like
I'm so glad we got that.
That was great. All right. So you've done a lot of different things, you've taken a lot of different routes to build your audience, get your name out there. What do you think is the most efficient way of getting your brand out?
Consistency.
Over shows, over social media.
Anything, right? So for whatever it is, I think a lot of people, once again, like upcoming artists, kind of look for those kind of answers, like what's the specific thing? And in doing this, I can tell you, I know people who got on, who their live show sucked, but because they were consistent on social media, they got the opportunity to perform and they got to build on that. I know other people whose social media presence is atrocious, but they perform a lot and they were able to garnish a fan base that way. So no matter which way you choose, you just have to be consistent and don't be afraid to shift and pivot. You may be doing something, realize something will work better for you, and don't be afraid to go, well, I've already been doing this. Be comfortable with pivoting, be comfortable with adjustments, but be consistent. So that's the most important thing. Doesn't really matter if it's shows or social media or, you know what I'm saying, it doesn't matter. Just be consistent.
So it's that consistency that really gave you that sort of data or something that like to build off of, to make adjustments with. Because it's like if you only try a thing once every 2 years, it's like, how are you going to know it's working? Or
you don't know what you're good at.
You don't, yeah.
Damn, I know earlier you would talk about like earlier in your history as an artist, you would walk around with like one of your boys that would help you like print CDs and hand those out and things like that.
Shout out my boy B Wallace, man.
Yeah, B Wallace, his name. Yeah,
B Wallace the Kid.
What would you say is like one of those things that, because like back in the day, that's one of the things that was like expected of you, where it's like that's kind of what you had to do, that like that would display your drive like as an artist. Is there something that you say that like is the equivalent of today? Like if you're like a hungry artist, like what are you doing to like really make that groundwork? Like there's a billion different things you could say, but it's like anything that comes to mind.
I think the equivalent of passing out CDs at high school basketball games now would be
making TikToks.
Yeah, it's like making TikToks, but like specifically really like I would say it's like the duets. People do a TikTok
type shit.
Yeah, like where you get like you do like you take someone's beat and like you kind of
screen.
And that's another thing that's just different about I think the technology pushed things so like now, bro, you can rap on an ill mind beat. Like, and he could see it. As opposed to just like, we have to go on LimeWire and download instrumentals and risk our computer lives for ill minds who never even care. You know what I'm saying? Like, our computers were at stake every day. And ill mind would never care. Or you could rap on a Timbaland beat and like, he would never care. Where now, Timbaland posts his joints on Twitch and he reposts.
You'll look.
It's like, yo.
That's a good one, bro. I really feel like those are underrated, bro. Like,
100%.
so many producers are doing that on TikTok.
So many producers. Get out there, bro.
Straight off the talent. Like, you don't even have the good quality. Like, you literally just have to spit bars over their beat or have a good flow. Doesn't, so
or just be unique.
That's a good one.
Be
unique, whatever.
Be whatever, bro.
Yeah.
But you won't know you're unique until you get out there. You won't know.
That's a fact.
Yeah,
son.
That's
the equivalent. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's the equivalent for sure. That makes sense.
You got one more for us?
One more thing that stuck out to me is somebody asked you a question where it was like you were talking about how do you navigate putting your vocals or not putting your vocals over a beat while you're performing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you answered that question before. So it's like having
so if you're performing
performance track.
Yeah.
So it's like where you don't have your vocals over it, you put the mix a certain way. So like while you're
so it's like your ad libs coming in.
Oh, okay, whether your ad libs are just however you want to navigate your performance track.
I think I blanked out. Okay.
Yeah, it's all right, bro. We're 3 hours deep in the interviews. But yeah, so it's like you had an interesting answer. So I don't know. I could speak for it.
Yeah, speak for it and then remind me.
You were saying something like it really depends on what you're trying to achieve with it. So while you were overseas, you said like since they don't really know your music like that, it made sense to really put your voice over it rather than really like. But if you're more, I mean, what's your perspective now?
So my perspective is hasn't changed much on it. Like I said, I think my main point is what are you trying to accomplish? So even if you're doing it here, if you have a fire song, you know. If your whole point is so people know the song, maybe you perform with the performance. You perform with the track playing
with the full track. Like, you don't really not take out your vocals over.
You know what I mean? Maybe you don't care if people think you're a trash performer. Maybe just hearing the song, you're like, yo, I'm so confident in this song. I just need people to hear it.
Word.
There are other people who are like, yo, I'm a great performer. Yeah. If you're a great performer, put that on display. Yeah. So whatever it is your true talent is, put that on display.
Word.
So I think that's the main thing. Don't get caught up in trying to, what other people will think. It's like, yo, if you put yourself in the best light, that's all you can do, man.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Steely said something else that I wanted to ask him about it too, but he was saying something like, it's like, I was going to repeat his answer to what he said to the same question because you both were in the same interview when you were asked this question. And he said something like, you also have to consider like your own breath and like your own energy. Like if you're
That's what he said? Yeah. You know he forgets a lot of his lyrics on stage and I got You know that?
Did not know that. Said, shut up.
I gotta be honest with that sports, I literally forgot. He's literally finished my whole entire lesson. I'll be like,
let me tell you how funny shit about this. Let me tell you funny shit about this because Will, he's so big on like if we book a show, he's like, yo, my nigga, we have it rehearsed in like mad long. I'm like, yo, something good. He's like, nah, we need to rehearse. We need to do it. Yeah. I'm like, you're right, bro. You're 100% right. After me going like, it's all right. We finally rehearse and like he'll like go over certain parts that he knows that he normally forgets. He'll just do it. And I'm like, yo, bro, like it's cool. He'll work mad hard at this spot. I already know he's going to forget it. I know which part he's going to forget. Yeah. He gets on stage and he does it every time to where I feel his body about to turn to me and be like, bro, I already know what it is. Yeah, like I feel it. So it's like, it's funny when we're doing it. Yeah. But what's funnier is when we get off stage and he's like,
yo, son, like I forgot the words. Like it don't matter, son. The show was fire. Like he be mad at himself for forgetting those words, but I'm so like, I'm so used to it. Like it don't even matter. Like he's way more upset about it than I ever am. I'm just like, as long,
it's fine.
this footage, this is actually, if you go to our first South by Southwest show, if you watch that video, you can watch him go.
He just points.
Watch that video. Matter of fact, when y'all post this, I'm gonna post the clip of it. Y'all can see it right through there. You can see
I'm weak. Yeah, that's hilarious.
That actually built our friendship off that because we never even. It was the first time we had ever did that. First time we ever performed play in a space like that. So when I picked up on it, he was like, "Oh, this." Yeah, I'm like, "Yeah, I got you, bro. What's up? Pass the ball, Kobe. Pass the ball. I got you, son. Let's do this." You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy. Shit.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna say let's finish it off on the same note that I left it off with Steely.
What's up?
I'm gonna ask you, bro. Like, what is your proudest accomplishment to this day? Like, what made you happiest? And again, just like for people that just to realize like what really make somebody happy, like a bunch of years down the line. Just
I would say I have a lot. I have a lot of things. I will say I have two. One would be putting out 5G's Later as my first album. Not just because it was only my first album, but I decided to put it out on the day my mom passed.
okay, word.
And I wanted to, take something that I never forget. Like I always, every year comes around. I wanted to turn that into something special and immortalize her for that. So then actually 3 of them.
Wait. How did you orchestrate that? Like the day?
The day? So I've been working on 5G's Later. So it came out in 21, right? Last year, 21? Last year? Yeah, it came out in 21. Yeah. I had been working on it for about 2 years prior to that.
Yeah.
So like I said, back to the whole thing of us planning out our rollouts, I knew I wanted to like plan out my first album with a lot of time. And then originally it was going to come out beginning of, when was it? It was supposed to be coming out like a little bit before quarantine. Right, a little bit before quarantine. Quarantine happened, pushed things back, gave me more time to kind of map out everything. So once it got to about January, I knew I was going to do the breakup tape that I put out in February. So I'm like, all right, so I'll just do the album maybe 2 months after that. And it was getting close to May, so I'm like, you know what? I'll just do that on my mom's birthday. Like originally I was going to put it out. I was originally going to put it out on her birthday, and I put it out on the day she passed because I wanted to give myself more time, and I felt like, once again, I wanted to.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like she literally...
P.O., I know you don't think...
Okay.
Yo, wait. Let me say this out loud, P.O. I know P.O. don't think that I said, I'm going to drop my album on May 19th and then kill my mom on May 19th just to get album sales, P.O. Yo, he did not just ask me that.
No.
You out of pocket, P.O. Get it together.
No,
You've had a long day. You've had get him the caffeine smoking joint. Get him the caffeine.
We don't talk about
joint.
that. We don't talk about that. No more 2 interviews in one day. Nah.
It's been a long day for you, P.O. I'm gonna let you slide.
Right.
Son. It's all right. It's all right. Okay. But yeah. So dropping it on that day, I like I said, I hadn't planned on doing that originally, but it was originally going to be on my mom's birthday. Then that's April the 3rd. And I was like, I'll push it back to May. And I was like, I'll just do it the day she passed. And my family was really happy about that. And just for me, it gave me a sense of closure that I didn't even know I needed. So that's one. 2 would be the Wylin and Homecoming. That was such a special show for me to have my friends and family there. And I felt like it felt like a homecoming, like really like after just literally coming straight off Taiwan. It was Taiwan. It was the second Poland show. And at that point, that second Poland show was the biggest show I had ever done. And I felt like, I just did 6-year-old me. I did everything 6-year-old wanted me did up to that point. Like I had completed everything I wanted to do. I had performed at the biggest stage and had people screaming my name. And I'm like, that was everything. So to come back to New Rochelle in White Plains. Come back to New Rochelle in front of the whole Westchester, people I know who watched me grow, in front of my friends and family, and have that moment and party the whole night. And my aunt was there. And, she came up from Florida for it. Like it was so big and monumental for me. So everybody was part of that night. I'm gonna say thank you.
That's fire.
Thank you so much. And then lastly, it would be creating an LLC around my mom's name.
Fire.
Yeah. My mom.
What's the name of the LLC?
Shaniqua and Sons LLC.
Fire, bro.
Yeah, it's me. It's having that moment. My mom was an accountant, so she was really big on business and stuff like that. So for me to I always felt like I wasn't much of a business person. So to finally get to a place where I opened up an LLC in her name.
It's for your music, like you as an artist.
So like, you know, it's an LLC for the brand. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
all my business moves kind of go through that. So those are the 3 biggest things that, you know, I'll never, no matter what happens in music, those 3 things I'll take with me for the rest of my life.
That's fire.
Fire, bro. I'm glad you gave us those.
Dope.
Yeah.
Glad to have it, man.
Couldn't ask for a better way to end it, bro.
For real. Appreciate you coming through.
Yo,
Glad
for
to
a
be here,
fact.
my guy. You a wild boy, Theo.
No, I literally, because I saw the post too. I don't even want to explain. I just.
So if you made it this far, okay.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Fuck. If you here, I appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, if you're an artist, join the community. You know, we're trying to build this community of like-minded artists, so we can all create, help each other, support each other, grow together. So tap in. Cool. Could you tell the people where to find you on social media?
You can find me on social media, Dre the Coolest on Instagram. So you can find me pretty much anywhere. And the Beats and Sip page, you can find. We have a Beats and Sip Twitter. We got an Instagram, and we got a TikTok.
Yes, sir.
Website Beats and Sip.
Tap in.
And what are the dates for the Encore event and the Beats and Sip event? One more time.
January 8th. This might.
January 8th.
That's
already.
past.
Oh no, January 28th. I'm just.
I'm like,
Yo, no more interview. Yo, one
don't
interview a day. One interview a day.
Nah, it can't be this late. I've been up since 5. I woke up at 5:45. That's what
your
it
hunger,
is.
man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
nah.
your- Tell them
for
what
sure.
date it is, man.
Yeah, I can still do this
28th.
performance too. I'm still with it. I'm still with it.
January what?
28th. Yeah, 28th.
Beats and Sip is.
Yo, it's always something. Yo, January 28th, the Encore show. The next Beats and Sip is going to be February the 11th in
11th.
NYC.
Boom.
Copy.
You know, by the time this come out, it'll be.
Where's that,
when
man?
is this coming out?
That's what I was trying to figure out. This is gonna probably be out after my show, but before the Beats and Sip.
There we go. All right,
So,
cool.
yeah.
NYC is probably in Soho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
I bet.
Boom.
Let's
Say
do
less.
it. Appreciate you tuning in.
We out here.
Y'all are wild.